sometimes, and it's fair to look at that honestly. It's fair to look at this.
I was expecting SA rapper when I heard it.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you know, especially when you know that there's a certain element. There are elements to generalizations, and it's not bad. It's just like it's just that. So in breaking it down, you realize that True Justice doesn't have those elements. Those elements are missing. Doesn't take away the fact that you're a Mexican rapper. I mean, nothing can take that away.
He'll put Chicano and you know, lingo in there and here and there, but I think a lot of people, including myself, and I don't want to speak for him, they want to be recognized. Like when people are like, "Hey, I'm fucking colorblind. I don't see color." We like, yo, shut the fuck up. But I think a lot of people are like, I want them to see me as a dope MC, and I don't want them to see me as anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what, like, you look at like Lecrae or NF, both of them were boxed in as labeled as Christian rappers because they didn't cuss in their records. Yeah. And you hear them both talk now that they're massive, they're recognized, their numbers are there, they're making money.
Or they're
huge.
like,
and now
I believe in God. And I'm like, me too. So am I a Christian rapper?
They just want to be recognized as rappers that don't cuss in their records.
Yeah.
Nobody said Will Smith was a Christian rapper.
Yeah.
Right?
Or Chameleon.
Hey, people don't know Will Smith used to be on the block battling, though. He's a beast.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, they do get boxed in. I get it for like genres or like to refer, because, you know, if you like that, you'll like this. Or if you like Chicano rap, yeah, it's basically, you're probably gonna like all these Chicano rappers because they all sound pretty much the fucking same. They're all talking about the same thing. You know, just like, to me, it's the same as like Houston rappers. Like if you like, is that Dirty South? What is that considered?
That's dirty.
Yeah. Like
that
if
third
Slim Thug,
you usually
Zero,
like the whole
fucking
group of them because there's similar sounds, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I never wanted to be looked at as a Chicano rapper, one, because I knew I wasn't like that. I was more just myself and rapping about what I knew. But also, people would be disappointed if they found my album in the Chicano rap section. They're like, what the fuck is this? Where's my California Sunshine song?
Right. But even like boxing in, like I was going to use an example. I was like, if Denzel Washington played a fucking white man in a movie, I will probably believe him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Robert, like even like Robert Downey when he on Tropic Thunder when he did that, I was like, was that offensive? And I was like, mostly asking, I was like, I'm asking my black homeboys, was that offensive? They're like, nah, man, that shit was funny as fuck. So I was like, so in the proper context, it's funny, and sometimes it's malicious. So what's malicious and what's not? Because I'm like, yo, man, Robert Downey Jr. killed that shit.
Dave Chappelle dressing up as a white dude.
Dave Chappelle,
made me laugh my fucking ass off.
The white supremacist Dave Chappelle was funny as shit.
Oh, not that. I'm talking about when he
funny
does the white news anchor
guy.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like certain contexts, and I would ask TJ and Kane and Genesis, what context is that okay?
For me, it has to be known from a good place. Like everything for me is like, as long as it's not fueled by hate or to spark some kind of like to belittle somebody, I'm usually going to assume the best in it. Like,
yeah,
I agree.
What do you say? I'm just a guy trapped in a guy playing another guy.
I like cracking jokes, but I don't like cutting people down if their feelings are hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people have thick enough skin to accept it as a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't control how someone receives your message.
Right.
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Would Eddie Murphy be canceled right now?
Chappelle has proven that you can't just cancel whoever you want to. I mean, the power is there, but I mean,
but Chappelle didn't drop that. He didn't drop the F word. He was he finessed it and did it properly. But they wanted to. They were like, Chappelle, the LGBT, we're getting rid of him.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, I mean, that's an interesting question, but just him even going to Dave Chappelle is the answer to your question.
Right.
The fact that he is not only that he exist, he's the biggest. And so obviously in the essence of that question, Eddie wouldn't even say it, he would be Dave Chappelle. Right. He wouldn't say fag.
Yeah.
Right. Well, shit, man. Like Dave Chappelle is respected, dude, cuz I was like, oh, damn, the Chappelle Show's on Netflix. I'm about to binge watch this shit again. And he said,
don't.
He said respectively to Netflix, take my shit down because they didn't compensate me properly, and Netflix said yes. And then another company, what other company put some Chappelle shit up, and Chappelle said no.
Well, there was another one.
Yeah, if you respect me, they did not pay me. They didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we bought the rights to this shit. But respectfully, they said, Dave Chappelle, yes, we'll take it down.
Well, Netflix had some motivation, I'm sure, because they got deals.
The comedy
in the works for
specials,
future
yeah.
stuff, so they don't want to fuck that future up.
You hit the nail on the head, and people are gonna respect it because none of them want to screw it up. They made a mistake. It was HBO that he had the issue
With
with.
Chappelle? No, he had the issue with Comedy
Comedy
Central.
No. There's another one that just
Oh,
came.
I think it might have been the HBO. What I was talking
Yes,
about right now
yeah,
specifically. Yeah.
yeah, the HBO
HBO said, yep, they got rid of it.
Yes. So that's where I was going with it. It was HBO recently, and it's none of them want to take that risk because he's the best. If you you fuck me now, then we're not going to do business in the future. You know, so people are going to do the right things and that's power. That's power versus money.
Well, because he could just walk away.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm leaving because his show was number fucking 1, and he was like, I'm done.
He's an instant classic. Anyone's going to get paid when they negotiate with him.
Yeah.
Why he left Comedy Central for what? Because he's just like, oh, wow, I'm done. It was probably business dealings, and he just walked away.
I think he talks
And
a
he
little
was
bit about it.
Dave
He talks
Chappelle's
about it.
mentally ill, and he's losing his mind. He's like, nah, motherfucker, I'm at peace.
I think he just didn't want to be involved in that world like they wanted him.
No,
involved in it.
to be honest, he did say he wasn't going too crazy, but he admitted there was some. Yeah, he was like stressing out about it, man. He talked about it on. I think he talked about it on Oprah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you seen how fucked up Cat Williams was there for a minute.
Didn't he beat up like a teenage boy?
The teenage boy beat him up.
Oh, that's goddamn.
It was I think it was a 7th grader. Cat Williams is not very big, so I mean, but
Why is he fighting a teenage boy?
because he ran up on the teenage boy, and the teenage boy fucking put paws on him.
Well, it's not like he can hit him back.
A lot of these
tried
kids
to.
are tough, man.
At that point, you better hit him back.
My daughter's 8. She put hands on me. These kids is tough.
Yeah, man. So let's talk soap, bruh. I mean, what what's going on, dude?
Wait, can
I'm gonna-
we start from
can
the
I-
beginning? Like,
Yeah.
this is where we are now. I want to get like to the
I want to start.
We
at the
just
be-
went
I wanna
off for
start
an
at the-
hour.
I want to start at the beginning too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I told someone, I was like,
like
was it the podcast when I said, nah, this dude had a music kiosk, and I worked today. He's like,
Yeah.
a music kiosk
Yeah,
at the
'cause-
mall? I never seen that. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Been
You
on
never
that
seen that?
entrepreneurship.
No,
for a
my
minute.
my wife's talking to me earlier because my kids are always you would have met them tonight, but I took them to my grandparents. They will love to meet the guests of the show. They're like, "Who's on tonight?" And I'm like, "His name's Genesis." And I'm explaining it and telling my wife because she was sitting by me when we took the phone call earlier, and she's like, "I didn't know you guys hadn't met before." I'm like, "Yeah, we never met before." She's like, "So I feel like I know that name." I was like, "Everybody knows about Genesis. They either heard about him or met him, you know." Explaining the kiosk and she's like, "Oh, I remember those days. I would walk around the mall so I didn't get because I knew I'd have to buy something." I was like, "That's how big it was.
Yeah.
It was epic." So yeah, let's talk about the beginning. Even if there's something before that.
Now there's before that too, because I've been knowing this guy for
I can break it down. I just want to say this, man. I'm excited. Well, I would have liked to have met your kids.
Yeah.
But tell them that I'm a Mandalorian.
Okay.
And let them know that.
Will
Yes,
do.
yeah. Let them know. No, but anyway, I just want to say really quick, man, before we get into this, man, this is going to be some exciting stuff that I'm going to share, and I appreciate being here.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to shout out some people, if that's cool, before we
yeah.
get started.
We
real
love
quick.
shout
Yeah,
outs,
we love
bro.
shout outs here.
I just want to say shout out to you guys. Number one, I appreciate the invite. I appreciate the love.
Hell
It feels
yeah.
good to be here. We made it. We planned that. We planned this last year, and we're all here. And in certain cases, people make plans and they're not here.
Yeah.
Somebody's missing. Somebody's gone. So I just want to say I appreciate it. So I want to say shout out BG Church, shout out Genius, shout out Certified, shout out Mobile, shout out Dutch, Oliver, shout out all the insider supporters. Stand up. You still got your T-shirt. Stand up. Appreciate it. I want to say shout out to Brayson. He copped some soap today, held it down. He said peace to all you guys at Krav Maga. So peace to him.
Oh, yeah.
Just peace to everybody out there, man. Peace to Christina, Rico, Rexo, Trills, Ones and O's, Aaron, Sonic Blacksmith, Jay the Law, All these people I'm naming, the majority of these people are responsible for what we're going to get into. So I just want to make sure that I probably won't get everybody, but just shout out to everybody. Mama, shout out to you. Shout out to Jimmy at the crib. Shout out to everybody. Anyway, how this all began with Insiders Music. Always been around music. My mother, she sang in top 40 bands, and I always loved music. Got into MCing at a young age. Was always very eclectic. Always liked all kinds of music. Grew up in Spokane, so when there was no hip hop, KZZU, and it's cool. Now shout out Dave. Now we're Facebook friends with people, famous people or local people. It's cool, but back in the day, man, I started making music and started making CDs and stuff with starting. All of us we had tapes, and then we got into CDs and whatnot. Started recording at Boptech. Were you around with Boptech over on Ray?
I was a kid, man. The first local rap tape I heard came from there, though.
Yeah,
I think I was about 10.
So Boptech was like the first, or at least one of the first, super big studios here who had just the right sound, the image, and everything like that. A really dope place. So shout out Jymel. Rhyme Proof Vest, that was the first joint that we rocked there, so that was dope. So anyway, got into MCing, got into making CDs, and coming up, people moving product out the trunk, having CDs was money, and that's the era that I grew up in. Not like Too Short, where Too Short literally had tapes,
Selling tapes.
Yes, tapes for real. But we sold CDs. And we would go everywhere, man. We go to shout out C-Flow, Z Chase. We shout Jerry. Anyway, we'd go to Apple Blossom and hit the streets, go everywhere, moving product, try to get into the mall. This is how we get to Insiders. Segue into this. So as a rapper, you're trying to get your product, get your name out, get some money in your pocket. And we go to malls, go to Yakima, different Seattle, get kicked out of the mall, and I love being in the mall. That's where the people were. And one day I got the idea. I said, I got tired of getting kicked out of the mall.
Right.
Man, So let me go to the mall.
Yeah.
So the rest is history with that. So we got in there. We had 3 different albums. We had Unique Insiders Volume 3, which I found a copy of that today. And we had a certified album. Okay.
Yeah.
We started the business with 3 CDs. We had 3 records. And so we started in 2008. Our first 3 months, we got right into peak. So we were right.
I thought you started in like 2007.
Well, yeah, 2007, 8. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Because I remember specifically. I think it was Christmas 2007 when the Street Pharmacist album was out.
Yes.
So that album sold a lot of records. But I was telling you guys, we sold about 1,000 on a weekend.
Yes.
Sitting at that joint.
Yes.
And I was like, that's unfucking heard of. Because we did 1,000 records out the trunk and shit. And we're like, hey, we got rid of 1,000 records. It took like a week. It didn't take 3 days, like a weekend, like Friday, Saturday, probably not even all of Sunday. And then I'm talking to Q, and he's like, we got to get more albums.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and back then they're like, oh, fuck shipping. Portland's close. We're going to drive to Portland and pick up the fucking albums. Because back then it was just, back then. It's crazy to say back then, but 2007, we're like, oh, we're just going to drive to come get it because I don't want to pay fucking $50 to ship it, and I just want to go somewhere anyway.
100%. And I'm glad that you jumped in and said that, because that's going to validate what I'm about to tell you for our first 90 days of business. So we had 3 records. Our first 90 days, we did $70,000 from the first location, all independent music, no commercials, no internet presence, like $70,000.
Listening booth yet?
We always had listening booths, but we only had 1.
Okay.
We had 1 then. We did 2. We had 70 grand of independent music. Overall, we did $3 million. All independent music. It was a beautiful thing.
That's something to be proud
I
of.
bought so many albums up there. I was so jacked to have somewhere to pick up local music. You know what I mean? I fucking love these cats. Shit that dudes that you heard about, seen at shows. You know what I mean? And It's fucking amazing. You know, I think we even got some Three Kings albums up in there.
Oh, yeah.
Towards
Oh yeah. Oh
There's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
many-
I remember.
Yeah.
And dog, in fact, I think I saw one of those albums.
Oh,
Recently.
yeah?
No bull jive.
Oh wait.
No, but straight up, man. So what was interesting about that is, you know, I'm going to take it back to race again.
Yeah.
Not everything's about race, right? But we're going to talk about it. So 3 black guys, you know, started this business. You know, I think it was just, you know, 3 of us, maybe more of us, and there was other people around, but mostly black dudes who looked like rappers, you know, ran this thing. So we had a rap to start with, then we started getting more music. We got stuff, we got Lucid, we got the Black Angels.
I remember that too.
Yeah, we did a project and ended up connecting. This is where it really changed for us. There was a group called Light in the Attic. Light in the Attic Records out of Seattle. So there was some artists. There was a guy that we knew here in Spokane, and he did a wakeboard, snowboard video, and he used some of our content.
Hell yeah.
And then with our content, there was some rock bands and stuff. And he did the release party and had everything playing, and our music was playing. We were already in the film. Well, this group called the Blakes showed up. These 3 white dudes, and they rocked, man. They had the kind of like an emo look. Their music was just really dope. They're out of Seattle. So I'm like, man, as an independent, I knew they were independent. So after the show, I'm like, hey, y'all got records? You know, like I want, you know, I got a CD store. I want to move this product. I'll sell it. And they're like, yeah, we got this. So boom, they had a few of them I bought them, sold those, moved them quick. Then I found out they were surprised, and then we got a hold of their label. So Light in the Attic is out of Seattle. Okay. And then they had a couple hip hop people. I think one of the people involved in there was from Sub Pop. And I think one of the guys there, like, he had got a huge settlement and started this whole label. And they had dope music, and they bought rights to a lot of old stuff too. There's a guy named Rodriguez. Have you guys heard about Rodriguez? He was like a guitar player. He was from the 70s. Oh. And so Rodriguez like disappeared. They just did a documentary on him too, because he was really popular and he was kind of like getting a political voice, but he disappeared and just got out of the game, kind of like Dave Chappelle. So they had the rights to Rodriguez's music.
Okay.
And so we had some of that stuff, some of the Seattle classic artists, music I never heard of. And we moved that product, so it was technically independent music. So that stuff fortified my brand. Shout out Janae Halstead, got some of her music in Spokane, tremendous local artist. And so what we started doing was just getting stronger and stronger music. We were defying the myths that just because black people were here, all we
Janelle?
Janae Halstead.
Oh,
yeah! Shout out Janae
I don't know
Janae
if I heard
Halstead.
that.
The River Grace. That changed everything for us, because people. It was safe music. It was like music that white people were very comfortable with, and it was undeniably good music, right? And so we added that, and that changed the perception. And that's what's beautiful about music. It brings people together, and it changes perspective on things. You know, look at Hootie. I remember Hold My Hand or whatever. When that came out, I saw the video, and I'm like, that's a black dude, you know, that bugged me out. But people love Darius Rucker,
Right?
You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
you
But
dare
he
say
doesn't.
anything
But
about
you know,
Darius Rucker.
right? People love Darius Rucker, and and like we were talking about earlier, he doesn't sound like a black guy at the time, especially with the music. Now it's different. Now I don't know. That's what I got. So I'm recording a record. Segue into the soap, because this ties into to the booth. This is where the soap actually started, was at the booth. Okay. It was 1 bar of soap. It's called the Classic Clean. So I'm recording with the Sonic Blacksmith. A lot of you guys don't know who he is. Tremendous.
His beats
producer.
are nasty.
You know what it is.
I've been trying to get some beats from that dude. Like, does he still make beats?
Yeah, he's making slappers. I'm not talking to him as much, but he posts some stuff, and it's just he's as dumb as he's ever been.
Last time I saw him was at a Rakim show, and he's like, "Oh shit, when we're working with Anaweem," and he's like, "Yo, I need to make some shit for you," and I was like, "Yo, I heard some shit you did for Anaweem, and I definitely want some of your music, but I don't have contact with dude really." Yeah, we can work, so I can reach him, but I'm recording some stuff for one of his projects, right? Oh. And I'm in the lab, I'm in the booth, and he stops. He's like, Jen, we got to go. And I'm like, what? He goes, because he's from Atlanta, and his mom was moving back to Atlanta,
and I guess she had found this place in Spokane that had all the shea butter and stuff like that. And this is way before Amazon was big. So if you lived in Atlanta, a lot of the stuff that the hippie people really have access to, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be crazy, but you know what I mean? There's like all kinds of natural stuff here that they're not going to hit you in the head with. In Atlanta, to get a bucket of shea butter, it's going to cost, 4 or 5 times the amount or whatever. So, yes, yeah. Exactly.
I dig what you're saying, man.
Yeah, so what was happening is she wanted to get a grip of that stuff. So she said, Ricardo, I need you to go buy this stuff and I need you to send it down here to me. So he's like, why don't you come to the soap store with me, the supply store or whatever the place is, and then we can get back to work quicker. I'm like, cool. Yeah. So we go down there and I go to this place called Green Castle Soap. Shout out Sandy. And we go in there. I'd never been there before. It's right in the cut, right where Playfair is, or right where Playfair used to be, the horse track. But now it's an industrial little park, but it's still over there. So we go over there, and he's doing his thing, and I see this whole wall full of oils, right? And I'm kind of an alchemist in different ways. So I'm looking at this stuff. I'm seeing things that are triggering my memory. Sandalwood, my mom had hippie friends and stuff and different things, and I was like, boom. So I started playing with the oil, smelling them and stuff, and this lady comes. She goes, why don't you take some, and why don't you play around and maybe make a soap? You can do that. You can have a. And I'm like, cool. So I go home and I play with the oils and stuff, and I end up making the classic clean, right? Take it back. She ends up making it, and I'm like, man, I got all this soap, and I'm like, man, maybe I'll make some soap and add it to the booth during the holiday season. So I made a few hundred bars of soap one Christmas, and that's where the classic clean, the original bar started.
No fucking way.
Yeah, man.
I'll be damned.
Tight, man.
Doing something different.
So 2 years ago, obviously, you guys know the booth closed, the economy changed, CDs, and we all fast forward to now. Right. 2 years ago, I come back to Spokane, and I'm like, man, the classic clean's dope. Let me make some more of those. Yeah. And then I'm like, ooh, let me make some more of those and that. And then I create Beauchamp and Chase, and we get it popping, and now we're here.
What's behind the name?
That's all. Yeah,
Jan?
man. I mean, that's...
Okay, so the name came to me at that time. Back in the day, Beauchamp and Chase, but I launched the soap. The classic clean was under Insider Sport. So I wasn't creative enough to change the name. I wanted to associate insiders with stuff. So I didn't feel like it was wrong at the time, but I was like, Insider Sport. The shirts were dope, things were dope, but I was like, I need to kind of give this something outside of the music. So that's where Beauchamp and Chase came into. Those two names just came to me. I mean, I know Beauchamps, I know Beauchamps, but it didn't. Those two names just hit me one day, and then I worked with Deshaun's homie, and I told him what I wanted. I said I want a tree, and I worked with him. We designed the BNC many years ago, and then this one here was redone by Thomas Shevlin, who's done a lot of stuff for Certified, done their graphics for them. So
Third Eye.
Yeah, Third Eye Design, but it's Chev Media.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of Thomas.
The one that has bear in it. What's that one?
So the Sugar Bear.
Yeah.
Right? The Sugar Bear is one of the soaps. So like I said, I came back with the classic clean. Then I wanted to have a heritage bar. And so I did the Cuban, like we talked about earlier. So that has and I'll get right to and the Sugar Bear came into play. Now what's funny about the Sugar Bear is I wanted to let's just bust these open and I'll pass this around as we talk about it. What's cool about the Sugar Bear it was going to be like a dessert bar because I had created some other things, so I kind of wanted to have something that smelled like tasty and sweet, right? So I was gonna call it the Sugar Bear, but like actual bear, right? And so I started. What I ended up.
Oh, you hear that? He's picking up that paper.
So I'm opening up this paper here.
No, let the audience feel it. It's like Christmas.
Okay, here we go. Let's get it.
Feels like
we're
Christmas.
Gonna open up the Sugar
2 weeks
Bear.
later.
It does.
This whole year, let's be.
We deserve another Christmas
all year long.
This year, yeah.
So TJ, I'm gonna pass this over to you. That's the Sugar Bear. I'll tell you about it. So what's cool about that? It was like I said, it was going to be a dessert bar. Yeah, but as you can tell, it's not a dessert bar right now. Now
you got the studio smelling all good. And
so
shit.
that has honey.
It smells so good.
Blackberry. And before it had chocolate. So I had honey, blackberry, and chocolate. But I was smelling it and I was like, man, this smells like you can eat it, and that's just too sweet. So all of us, so I sparked one, and it hit me. I got really inspired, and I was like, Sugar Bear, I'm gonna flip it. I said, I'm not gonna make this is too sweet. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find something that's gonna work instead of the chocolate.
Yeah.
So I added.
that sounds good.
I kept the honey. I kept the blackberry. And it has Japanese hinoki wood.
Oh, shit.
And so the wood is the musk. So what's cool about it? And like I said, it has stuff that bears actually like. So bears like honey. Bears like blackberries.
Let me get one more sniff.
And then the wood, the Japanese hinoki wood, signifies bears are in the woods. Right? At least that's what we want them to be.
Right?
That's so good.
That one's dope, bro.
That's fucking.
How much do they retail?
Yeah, this shit is designer.
So at Beauchamp and Chase, at the site they retail for $12, right? But then you go to the promo page if you want to buy 3 bars or more, you use a promo code and it'll break it down.
Okay.
Shout out to the people who don't use the promo code. Ron, I appreciate it. There's people who just won't use them, to show love, and I appreciate that. So I show them love as well.
Hey, before we get off independent music,
Oh,
I got
yes.
that for you. I want to get some of them bars.
Shout out what it is, Mike.
When I get done. I'm giving them the Good Afternoon America. I haven't seen you since Frame of Reference, and we were talking about doing some things after that, but we haven't really politicked like we should. That's the newest album.
I'm really excited.
It's a good one.
I'm really excited, man. And
No surprise. Everything he does is good.
Yeah, man. Dude is real talented.
Should we break this thing open with a top 5?
He's locked in.
Let me break it. He's talking about the top 5, man. I was like, man, he's talking.
What were you gonna talk?
I'm here with him.
I want to
right
know what
here,
this
and I was like, and I was like,
There's more.
Man,
Let's keep it going,
wait,
man.
there's more.
Tell us more, Jason.
but I was like, man, I got
Do I
so
break this seal?
So check this out. We're going to do it.
I got so many stories.
so
I
do
got
you
so
have
many
a-
stories.
I got
Let's go
a
back.
blade right there. by Kane.
I've known Genesis and like in his family forever. That's why I'm like, man, I got this
So
story,
take
this story.
Take this right here, bro. Oh, you got it. Yeah, just run it across the front, just like that.
Hey, you know my
Mexicans always got
homeboy,
blades.
you know my homeboy. You know my homeboy.
Oh, there's more bars. You brought more bars.
Yeah.
Made
yeah. He's got
had a rap group with your brother when they were in when they were getting in trouble as juveniles, when they were in like juvenile trouble. My homeboy Abram and I don't want to say your brother's name unless I'm okay to say.
Please
the
say the name.
So your brother Isaiah and Abram, they was I don't remember which juvenile institution they was in, but they started a rap group back then. In the homie got out, and I don't know. You guys have the same pops, right?
Yes.
Pastor. Yes.
Rest in peace, Dad. Pops, Kevin Farmer, Buddy Farmer. Rest in peace.
And they're like, "Oh, Pops is a pastor," and I was like, "Oh shit," because you was the older brother, so I knew your younger brother. And that leads me to the Seahawks victory. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's when my daddy died.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys this story?
Sorry. I'm
That-
still on
that-
some
that was-
Iron Rose right now.
Yeah, I'll break it back down for y'all.
It's like cinnamon.
I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't know what you guys were talking
It was just super big deal. It transpired because Abram, him and Genesis' little brother, they started a rap group while they were incarcerated when they were like younger. Abram can't rap for shit, but he tried. But they had a
about.
problem.
Who was in the group?
It was his little brother Isaiah and Abram.
Oh, okay. What were they called?
I don't even remember. Dude.
I don't know either.
But he came out with some raps
What's
when
up, Isaiah?
he got out, and I was just like,
It wasn't in gingerish?
Yeah, it's cool. No. So, but then it led me back because I was like, man, I know this dude so long. Because
How long y'all known each other? 90, 91?
Well, I probably knew of him longer than he knew of me because they were the big homies.
Right.
So I mean, like Church and C-Flow and all them. So when he was working with Flo at
C-Fleazy.
Let me know when you need some
At,
Royal, bro.
at,
Whatever you need, some vino.
Thanks, Pete.
Perimeter Sounds with Todd.
Oh man, you're throwing it back.
With Todd, I think it was about.
I think you know me, man.
Yeah, I think it was about 2000, and I think me, Q, and Buddy were first trying to rap, and Buddy's trying to make beats. I mean, none of the notes made sense, but we rapped on them anyway. But back to what I was talking about, this dude's father, pastor, correct?
Not officially, but he was. I think he got ordained, but he didn't have a physical church that he preached at. But yeah, Pops, Buddy, Daddy.
I remember them back in the day, like, oh man, you couldn't say stuff around Pops. Pops was like, I don't want to throw out religious, but they're like, oh, Pops was super religious.
Oh, absolutely.
And then
during that time, yes, sir.
when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, I don't know if I want to tell the story. Jen could tell the story.
Hey, man,
if he feels comfortable telling the story.
Whatever you want to do, man. But you feel free to feel free, man. You family, man. Feel free to break it down.
So this dude's father got to see the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, like win the first one. And did he pass away the next day?
No, my father died during the Super Bowl.
Oh,
During.
He died during the Super Bowl. He was supposed to be with me that day. It's crazy. I just want to, since you're on the subject, I'll tell you this briefly. I called my dad the day Super Bowl Sunday. I woke my father up the day he died. I called. He answered the phone. He's like, "Oh, Jen, you woke me up." You know, da da da. So he's supposed to be with us. We were supposed to meet after church, go to the Super Bowl. Later on, I get a call from my stepbrother, Ian. Shout out Ian. And he's like, "Hey," he called me. He doesn't really call me. You know, I get a call, and then found out my dad died. So we go to the house. My dad had the chicken wings out. He had his jeans on, no shoes, no shirt, and I could tell he was just kicking it and having a good time.
Just ready to watch football.
Yeah, and then it's cool, man. Somebody called the news. The news came to my house. They called me and said, "Could we talk about it?" Did you see the news thing on Crim?
Yeah, I read it and I was like, "What a like." I didn't want to like be like, "Oh God dang," because this is my partner right here. That I was being insensitive or disrespectful in any way, but I was like, "Man, what a way to go!"
yeah.
And then I was like, "Is that?"
Well, yeah. I mean, we can only hope that we get to go out in those comforts sometimes.
Like you get to go out like doing something you like.
Yeah.
And I was like, but in my
I love that you made it sound like he was probably happy in that moment.
Oh, there's
like
there's no question about it.
But I was like, do I feel insensitive
way.
saying this because it ain't my father?
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn. I mean, I mean, there's a couple ways I'd want to go out, and that might be one of them ways. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you this. I hated the Seahawks for many years because they disappointed my father every year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen Steve Largent play. You know.
Me too. When I was like
Yeah.
6.
Yep. And so I liked them then, but when I was able to be with my father at 15, they were just if they weren't shooting themselves in the foot, they were getting bad calls. You know, just all those bad years. You know. And so he was a diehard fan for real. I was blessed to be able to talk about my father. My bosses at work saw the video. It went to the Northwest channel, the news, the weather thing.
Yeah.
And it was just a blessing to talk to the world about my father, to let the world know how precious of a person that he is, man. My dad is that dude, man.
Yeah.
Diehard fan for real, man.
You don't think the Seahawks have fans?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, man.
I like to talk shit.
No, I had to
man.
lighten
like to
it.
give
I had to
them
lighten it up. Yeah, I don't know. There are certain people like I remember like they called them the 2012s. They was like
no, because my aunt that lives by you, she's been a diehard, and I remember in the early '90s, every fucking Sunday they'd be watching the Seahawks.
So she's not a 2012.
Not definitely not.
Okay,
and so it makes me happy. You know what I mean? And like Seahawks fans. You know what I mean? Got one out. Got one for.
Hey man, I used to go kick it with the homeboy, and we watched this shit and be disappointed every year. But one year specifically that stuck out, and they were 7-9, and he's sitting there, and they're playing the Saints in the playoffs. They shouldn't have made the playoffs. I don't think teams that are 7-9 should make the playoffs.
I do.
Hey, they made it anyway. And Marshawn Lynch just he's like caught in the middle of the O line and the D line, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a tackle for a loss, and he busts out. Oh, and then he gets the first down, and then he fucking shoves one guy off. As Marshawn Lynch would say, oh, it's just a baby stiff arm. He stiff arms this dude. He fucking flaps and falls over, and he keeps on running. So he's back at their own 30, and he houses it for a touchdown. And when
like
he
a
dives in,
65-yarder or something like that.
he grabs his nuts, and it caused seismic activity. People lost their shit, and I'm like, that was 2010. So I was like 2012s are people that came around when Russell first came in, and I'm just like. And they're like, Reese, he's so great. And I think he's really good, but I get pissed off at him because I'm like, man, you're better than this. That's why I'm so fucking angry. Why are you such an angry Seahawks fan? I was like, because I fucking can be.
Well, it's funny. You know, like, I grew up here, born and raised, and I don't remember anybody talking about the Seahawks like I do now. Like, it's a whole different thing. Besides my grandfather. My grandfather's been a Seahawks fan my whole life.
That lime green.
Well, shoot, bro.
Yeah, all them fools is the 2012s.
In my opinion,
I was with the dark blue, the dark green, and the white.
In my
with
opinion,
the
football wasn't
Egyptian
that
eye.
big in the 90s. You know what I mean? It was basketball, you know?
The Egyptian eye.
Sonics,
Yeah.
Just Jordan and shit. Jordan kind of ran the world in the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like, I don't know. With
Hey,
football,
man.
Peyton Manning kind of made football big again.
You brought up, I don't know, man. Back then,
Michael Vick.
Aikman, and Montana, and all them, and fucking Emmett Smith. Because I didn't
Yeah.
have to pledge
you're
allegiance to a
right,
team
you're right.
because I was a kid and I was like, I like
We
this
just
guy.
love stars.
I like this guy.
I still love
I like
stars.
this guy. I like Michael Jordan. I like Sean Kemp. But now you got to pledge allegiance or you're a bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were
What?
talking about basketball in the Northwest, and I'm like, dude, Spokane is more of a basketball town than Seattle is, and that's just brass tacks.
But have we always been? Or
Yeah.
has it been since the Sonics left we grew bigger?
Gonzaga, we have Hoop
Fest
Fest.
has been around since early 90s.
We're
I
a
don't
big-
remember when
we're
the
a big-
Sonics were around. I don't remember
Right.
people around here preaching other. They love the Sonics.
I know, but
Bobby
for
Jack.
for what it is, we're a basketball town.
Bobby Jack.
Well, I
Do
think
that every year. I would go
I
watch.
went to one of those.
I think that we're kind of overlooking a couple of things. Okay, number one,
Not big enough.
we're in Eastern Washington,
Right.
So you go to Seattle, there's Seahawks fans, right? So so we're really talking about here. Since we're talking about here and it's subjective, Gonzaga started balling. They started being relevant. People want to belong. They want to tether themselves to winning.
well, because the
Absolutely.
country
That-
knows who we are now.
Yeah, that's why I'm here with
Well,
you
the country
guys.
hasn't known who Gonzaga.
In the last 5 years, they damn
Well,
sure
yeah,
do, though.
they did, but I remember when they went to the championship, and there was a fucking tent from Wellesley in Nevada all the way down to the Kennel, and they were playing the Gamecocks, and they had clever little shirts that said "Beat the Cocks," and
That's funny.
There was newscasters, and I forgot what the dude's name was. It was one of the Italian American commentators. He was pissing me off because he kept on saying
Vital?
maybe.
Vital?
And the Gonzaga guys over here in Spokane, Washington.
No. Dick knows how to say it.
Okay, so he knows how to say it. It was a dude that he said Gonzaga and Spokane.
But see, on that same thing, I used to watch this show called Rescue Me on FX about firefighters in New
Is
York.
that with Dennis
Host
Leary?
on- yeah.
I love Dennis Leary.
And they had the same thing where they're doing their college brackets for the March Madness tournament, and they're like, "Who you going with?" I don't know. Who the hell is this? Gonzaga. Where the hell is Gonzaga? And they're like, "Who you going with? Who else? Who else? Gonzaga."
They say that name right now though.
yeah. They
absolutely.
know exactly who they
For
are
real.
now.
Hey, them some big
No,
boys
like
now.
like you said, man. People want to attach themselves to winning,
Yeah.
and it's fucked up. Like it's crazy how you see it. Like
Yeah.
man, people shit talk the losers so bad, dude. Just clown
I'm a
'em.
Cougars fan. I saying I'm a Cougars fan. I'm a Gonzaga fan. I'm a Seahawks fan. I mean,
You're a sports fan.
yeah,
What
true.
about the Vandals?
But
What
I was
about
like,
the Vandals? What
Are
about
you
the
a
Vandals?
Mariners fan?
yes, I know about losing. I'm a Mariners fan.
Fucking
Damn it.
Vandals, right?
I said they're the